Hello. This is a video on something that I might get a lot of shit for, but and lots of you are gonna probably disagree, and that's absolutely fine. You can disagree with this, but something that I see thrown around a lot, just in general, with well, mostly in the vocalsynth community. I'm not sure about elsewhere. But God, I don't want to show my mixing standard practices because people will probably hate the crap out of them. But it's what works for me, you know. Anyway, so this is about the fruity limiter that is on the master. So many people say take it off, and so many people leave it on, and it causes issues because it's not as simple as leaving it on or off. The truth is, it's there for a reason. So okay, let's say let's boost everything way too much. So we have a really loud instrumental. Feel free to turn the volume down for... Sorry, I should have given a volume warning. But yeah, volume warning for a second time. 3, 2, 1. So the problem is, you probably can't hear it that well, but if I open this up, notice how this line is distorting. If I bring the gain up, you'll hear exactly what it's doing. Extreme volume warning again. My apologies, I just realized I can turn the ceiling down. So notice how the instrumental suddenly gets really loud compared to... So the instrumental dips for the vocals, essentially, and that's what we're focusing on here. So that's why people say to turn it off. The problem, in my opinion, is that when you turn it off, you get a completely different problem. So now the entire thing is clipping. It's basically it goes, so your computer speakers have a maximum threshold as to what they can handle. Well, not as such that, it's more software based than that. So Windows FL in itself has a threshold as to what the volume of everything can reach. When it goes over that threshold, it clips. It's most of you guys will know what clipping is, some of you won't. Basically when it exceeds the maximum 0 decibels threshold. Yeah, and that's a problem with turning this off. What you should really be doing is making sure you don't mix too loud. Well, I say that it's good to mix loud because then you can pay really close attention to things, but at the same time, please look after your ears. So let's so what you should be doing, I'm gonna turn the master down because this volume slider here does not affect this because it processes through the fruity limiter before reaching this output. So what you should be doing, let's say that everything's too loud. You should be adjusting the gain Notice how this white line distorts less. So if I turn it up, you have a white line here that's like going all over the place. You want it to be flat with like this purple line. It needs to stay in line with the purple line. And basically, if it distorts a tiny bit, that's not the biggest deal. If you really want your mix to be louder, like, you can sacrifice a tiny bit of that detail, but it's essentially the same as the loudness wars, which is where they used to compress instrumentals in the early 2000s, late 90s-ish, to make the song louder, but you then lost dynamics and other like details where it's similar. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, but it's similar to brewing coffee on a V60 versus brewing coffee in an AeroPress. An AeroPress will bring up all of the small details and bring down all of the big details so that they are about the same level, so that everything is there right in front of you. That's what this is doing. It's a similar thing to compression. So the loudness wars were about that. They were trying to make things louder by bringing all of the small details up to be the same as the big details, but then you lose the difference in it. You lose that kind of dynamic between everything. So this is what we're doing here. We're preventing loss of that information through the same thing. And you need to adjust this gain. Don't adjust the ceiling, because this is the literal 0 decibels gain. And then if you set this to here, that's literally like, that's the loudest and highest quality you will get it. I sometimes listen to my stuff and go, why is mine so quiet compared to other people? Listen closely, and either it clips a little bit or it's slightly distorted through this limit of being left on. I think you should leave it on. It's there for a reason. You should actually use it rather than ignoring it. To me, this is a really important like part of, not as such mixing, but it's if you do a cover, this is the only mastering you need to do, but mastering is still important. You really need to focus on this and like make sure it's correct, because otherwise you'll have one of the two problems that I mentioned here. If you know more about audio than I've talked about here, bear in mind that I'm a hobbyist and don't know everything, so I could get some details wrong, but this is to my understanding, and from what I'm aware, this is correct. Anyone who knows more than me, feel free to discuss in the comments. This I'm happy for discussion to start. I just don't want anyone to argue over, oh no, you should do this, oh no, you should do this. I want more of like people being like, oh yeah, it would be a good idea if you did this actually, or just be like, oh hey, you missed out this detail, you know. But yeah, like, I feel like this is something that people commonly just shrug off as not anything important, but you really need, like, this is important to me, because at the end of the day, you don't want your cover to come out like one of those really loud memes, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover today. Thanks for your time.